Hello, my name is Tommaso Pollio, music producer for the Spirit in Action YouTube channel. The miraculous other half of the Spirit in Action team, writer and counsellor Claire, joins me today. Hello Claire, thank you for agreeing to be part of this.
Hi Tommaso,
Hello.
Pleasure.
These podcasts are companions to the daily meditations that we produce freely for you to hear on YouTube. We are now up to 70 guided meditations. The aim of these podcasts is basically to further discuss these meditations using questions given to us through YouTube. Today we delve further into the 10th meditation we produced a few years ago. Lack of. How our intent, motive and desire create our reality, and how we consciously can change them to enhance our life and create the reality we want. You mentioned that our intent, motive and desire creates our reality, and over time our negative thought patterns. To change these, we need an awareness of our own negativity. These past few podcasts have been dealing with this very topic and how we need to remove and replace them with more life-giving ones. The title of this meditation, Lack of, is a very triggering word for me and for a lot of people, I guess. How does this come about? Are we just born feeling this way? Is it a learnt behaviour?
Well, I'd like to start by talking about what intention is. Our underlying intent and motive plays an important part in our development because every feeling, thought and action is motivated by intention.
Motivated by intention?
Yeah, and intention is actually your directed will.
And often, is it sometimes an unconscious directed will?
Most of it is, yeah. So to create real power in one's life, you have to understand the real power of intention. You can give of yourself fully once you know your intention and you understand your intention creates your reality. You can't really give of yourself if you don't see the cause and effect of things. The intention is the cause and the effect is the result. So intention is the power of decision. When you combine your will and intention, things change. So you have to set your intention consciously.
How do we go about learning being conscious of these intentions rather than being unconscious?
Well, by looking at your thoughts and your thought patterns.
Like catching yourself when you're being negative.
Yeah. You can't really gain control in your life if you don't understand your intention and motive. A motive is the desire or need that causes a person to act. So, for example, jealousy was the motive for killing his girlfriend. So that's the motive. So it's very, very important to see your own negativity and bad habits to be able to change your intentions and motives. Then we can set an intention, set it consciously and put your focus on it. So give an example of something you've done or could do in that regard.
Relationships. Developing a healthy relationship.
So you understand what I'm saying? It's got to be a conscious act of directing your will. And that has a huge effect how things proceed in our life.
And that includes the way you think about relationships. Like if you
everything. It's not only our conscious or unconscious thoughts, it's our beliefs.
What you're putting out there.
Our opinions, everything.
Yeah, so if you put out, all the good people are gone.
Well, it's like growing up thinking that black people are less than white people or being gay isn't right. I mean, all those are such negative beliefs, not based on any truth.
No, it's a conditioning.
So it's a conditioning. And so we have to break down those deep, dark belief systems that have been embedded in people's minds.
And is that like inherited as well?
Well, it's mostly inherited, yes, and it's from what's around us from early age. For example, when I was small, I grew up in a large family and I was very, very lucky. We were Christians, but my mother always said to us, before you decide what you want to do or be, go and look at every philosophy, every religion, and when you're older, make a choice if you want to choose any of them or not.
So you were given the choice.
We were given a choice to make our decisions, yeah. You know, whereas I can remember we had lodgers, we had a big house and we had lodgers at the top. At one point there was 4 nurses there and they were all Catholics, and I remember everybody around me saying, Catholics, oh my God, they're terrible, all this stuff, you know, we know. I was thinking, why, what? Didn't understand it at the time, but you see those prejudices go in and they leave a mark on you, and that mark is so hard to take away. And imagine, I mean, I often think, well, I should say that, but I often think in terms of being an Aboriginal. Imagine walking down the road and having 90% of the people look down on you,
or being scared of you,
Imagine the impact on your psyche,
on the whole cycle of the psyche, you know, the whole your whole culture.
It's just dreadful. So all that has to be undone.
And yes, of course, that fear has been inherited in the whites.
Well, I always laugh because apparently I read somewhere that apparently the very first Britain found was black. Which is fairly ironic, yeah.
Right. I read somewhere interesting that there is no such thing as race, but there is racism.
That's right.
Race actually doesn't exist.
No, of course it doesn't. It's like saying you're this or I'm that. It's like you're not born this or that. You take that on from what is learned.
And as a society, we've taken on this whole nation was founded on that, wasn't it?
Huge. And all it takes away humanity in so many ways.
In daytime meditation, we saw the start of the life-giving statements. Could we perhaps go over some of these statements to analyse how they are life-giving statements, as opposed to I just wanted to show the difference between what an affirmation or an unrealistic statement with conditions are. Because, you know, often you might get someone go, oh, you're just giving me affirmations, but they're actually not, are they?
Well, an affirmation are positive statements that can help us overcome self-sabotage and negative thought. However, if they're not neutral, they can set up different conditions. And they've done quite a lot of study to show that people who are just given very positive statements, who are extremely negative people, can end up feeling worse off. So it's very, very important that people acknowledge what's going on inside of them, see and understand their own negativity, so that when they are putting in certain statements, they understand that this isn't where they believe at the moment, this isn't what they're going to feel right now, but they put it in repetition, because repetition builds up deep grooves really in our brain. So we want to work on our conscious level of consciousness, because we can't deal with the unconscious, if you like, where limiting beliefs live. So our old repetitive thoughts build deep grooves in our brain. Positive affirmations work on a conscious level of conscious thinking and do nothing to deal with the unconscious mind, where limiting thoughts live, basically.
So let's say, for example, the life-giving statement you gave, my life is abundant and in total harmony. Well, there's no conditions there, is it?
There's no conditions at all, that's right.
You're already in the present,
yeah,
and your life is abundant and in total harmony as is.
But you're not saying to yourself, that's where I am right now.
That's what I was going to say, yes.
You can put your focus...
So your life could be going to shit.
You can put your intention on that's where you see yourself.
Even if...
But you're not lying to yourself that that's where it is. You don't have to go through all the statements. You just have to understand that.
My life is abundant and in total harmony. And this could be happening while...
So you're setting your intention on that.
Even though
and you're trying to see the result. But you're not fooling yourself and knowing that's where you are right now.
You might be in debt or you might be in trouble, but...
And you become so aware of your old negative thoughts that you know when your mind's on those limiting belief systems. Right. You know when it's on those limiting beliefs that keep you in, say, a poverty mindset.
Yes.
Because, a lack of...
Yes.
because you talked about that in there.
Yes, yes.
A lack of or poverty mindset means we can learnt helplessness behaviours that contribute to people thinking they have no control over their circumstances. And I really truly believe that affects brain development.
Every day, in every way, my life gets better and better. And that's just continuously telling yourself that my life gets better and better.
So you put it in repetition so that it goes to deeper levels of your being and then will sink eventually into the unconscious. But you're not thinking that that's where you are right now.
Yes.
You can think, oh, hang on.
Yeah, you can think my future is possible.
And see it, but
yes.
You're not fooling yourself that that's where you are now.
Yes, my future is peaceful, positive and
Does that
bright.
make sense? Repetition's important because it helps you build your will and build new neural pathways in the brain. And then eventually, subconsciously, we will begin to accept them. And then writing them means it's easier to accept them.
That's why writing is so important.
That's why writing is so important.
Yeah, as it goes in consciously, then the unconscious will start to accept them.
Yeah.
All my relationships, past, present and future, are in total harmony. And what your last point said about
say
changing...
for example, you do not have a good relationship with your parents.
Especially in the past.
So you're not acknowledging that that's not where it is right now, but you're putting in and trying to see that can be resolved.
Yes.
You're setting your intention on that.
And that they were going from their own conditioning and what they learnt.
It's like forgiveness, when you learn to forgive others. Don't expect to forgive them. It might take you many years to actually forgive them, but you're putting the intention on forgiving them.
You're taking your power back too.
You take your power back, and it doesn't mean you have to like them either.
No, but you're letting go of the bond that you had.
A lot of it is a letting go of the attachments.
Yes, and you're cutting the attachment to
and
this
it's not
person.
just an attachment to someone, it's an attachment to your belief system and opinion surrounding that circumstance.
Yes, I can't forgive this person because they've ruined my life. Yeah. And that is affecting your whole future. Whereas if you forgive him...
Because also you're taking responsibility that you create your reality.
Right. That's a big...
It's scary.
Yeah, it is scary. I like this other one that you say, I am at peace with myself, other people, the world, and all who is in it.
Well, it smacks of acceptance of all beings, doesn't it?
Yes. I remember someone was telling me God is in everything, even the bad,
Well, to me, God is consciousness. But other people have different beliefs, and that's fine.
Yes. I now feel loved, valued, nourished, and supported by all those around me, whether they know it or not. That's a good one.
It is. It's very important.
I like that last bit. Whether they know it or not.
I know, because you're not fooling yourself. You're putting that out so the vibration changes, and then when you become the change, people will feel it. They might not know what they feel, but they will feel something.
Okay.
It's like if you've been around someone who's incredibly controlling,
yes,
and then all of a sudden you meet up with them and they seem to let go and be much easier. It means everyone has the possibility of being able to transform and change, but it makes you feel different towards them when they're different. You will feel it. It's like if you've ever been in a house and someone leaves for good. You feel a different presence in the house. You can feel their lack, they're gone. Which sometimes is good and sometimes isn't.
I know. I remember when my grandmother died, going into our house after she passed away. It was very...
You don't realise how much space someone takes up.
Yeah, it was overwhelming, the emptiness.
Yeah. Because their energy has changed.
And look, another favourite one of mine that you meant. Money comes to be multiplied, and all my bills and expenses are met. That's been a very powerful one for me too.
Well, that's right. It changes eventually. You'll find it changes the way you see finance.
Yes, and no longer as a worry for the future.
Yeah.
That you trust that the bills and expenses will be met.
Things will come somehow.
So you get this whopping bill and you go, okay, I trust the money will come and be paid.
I have examples of that almost every day. Little examples.
I think we all do. We get this.
You know.
And as you say, it is much easier for the mind to accept these statements when you write them. It's all well and good just to say that, but I feel like
it's very powerful.
It is powerful. Often though, my problem is I used to do them every day, but I seem to just write them when I'm triggered.
Well, it's easy to become complacent like that, but writing certainly is a lot deeper and has a deeper effect on the mind.
Yeah, and as soon as I go into a negative mode, I do jump on to the pages and start writing. It does, there is a sort of a weight lifted.
Yeah.
Besides writing the statements, you say put your mind on them during the day, particularly when you feel your mind is going on lack of.
Yeah, well, a lack of money, a lack of love, a lack of career, whatever it is.
I mean, you can even speak them out loud. I mean,
absolutely, it's very healthy to speak them out loud.
Yeah, in the shower.
Yeah, anywhere. It's just because it does a number of things. It's training your mind constantly. Again, you acknowledge what you're feeling and what the truth is in your life right now, or your perceived truth is.
Yes,
I should say. But you're choosing to put your mindset somewhere differently, and that is your directed will. So we're back to the intention again.
Back to intention where we started with.
We don't realise how important that is.
Oh, definitely. Again, back to relationship. You know, if your intention is, I'm past it, I'm too old now to find, that's your intention.
Well, that's right. It's good to have a mindset of being full of life and love and joy or whatever.
Allowing
and accepting.
Joyous new experiences.
And not focusing on, I'm this age, I'm old, it's past me, I mean, I quite often feel more full of life than people half my age.
What I'm learning is, as a young person, I always compared myself to other people, and that's another thing too. Comparing yourself to, well, at that age, that person was doing this, was that person doing that. And
well, it's dangerous to compare because you're not in your power. You're not being your authentic self,
and you're not following your own path. And often trying to copy another person's path leads to, I know from experience, doesn't lead to the right.
You have to develop your way. I mean, everything we do is partially bought in from other people or other things.
Yes, we all affect each other.
Yeah, but we develop our own way in it.
Take, for example, the great composers. Each great composer had their own quirk.
That's what I mean.
That's what we loved about them. They never tried. The most wonderful example is Haydn, where he was basically isolated most of his life in the court of Esterhazy. And he developed his own style of composition, which we now view as miraculous, beautiful. And he developed himself into one of the greatest composers ever. And that wasn't because he was in the thick of, stuck out in whoop whoop with a prince and had to write in music. And he just developed his own style, which we all love now.
Well, because probably his boredom helped him to develop his creativity.
Yeah, he was very, yes, of course. All his music's very funny, lots of little, like the Surprise Symphony where there's a loud bang in the middle of a soft bit.
But what I'm saying is that every composer, doesn't matter who they are, would have gathered things from other composers and things before they developed their own way.
Oh, of course, they're inspired, yes. And also they tapped into the source.
Yeah, that's right.
All the music. How did we get there?
I don't know,
but anyway, should we wrap it up? Well, thank you so much, Claire.
Thank you, Tom, as usual.
If you would like to get in touch with Claire, she is contactable. Sorry.
Thank you, Tom.
Through just clicking on the link below, you can either see her in person if you live in Perth. That's where we are, Perth, Western Australia, or she's also very Skypeable, and anywhere in the world she's happy to talk to you and delve further into these
matters.
Yes, patterns.
Matters.
Yes. So thank you again, and
Thank you.
thanks, Claire. Bye.